Hey guys, Lucas Green here, and this is it, another video for the Adam Ferns Archive channel. So, this is my version of Season 2 episodes of What's New Scooby-Doo, because Adam's gotten his 4 videos out, so it's time that I get mine out as well. So now it's time for my version of these videos. So first up is episodes. So let's get through this. We've got 14 episodes on the list, from what I've gathered anyway, so if I'm missing one, Adam, feel free to let me know. But I don't think I am. At number 14, and to no one's surprise, is the Wakumi Bird episode, which is the episode where they go to Mexico, and Shaggy meets one of his relatives, which, that's what they do a lot in some sort of Scooby-Doo episodes, where they have these one-off relative characters, which we never see again. That's basically this. Even Scooby gets a counterpart. And in that episode, it wasn't really my cup of tea, I would say, because it's one of those forgettable ones that I'm not really sure what's going on here. Apparently, there's this giant, mysterious Wakumi bird going around, which looks kind of like a hawk creature. I'm like, what's going on there with that? And they go around to see what's up there on the mountain and stuff, and they come across what's actually been going on, where there's this meteor in the ground, and the bird's protecting it. And they see this organization there, and they uncover the truth. I mean, I get that the stakes are high for it, but it's just so bland, and it has this feeling of blandness, and it puts a dry tone in it. You know those episodes where you want expect something good to make you enjoy it? Well, that never came for me in this episode, so I feel like it was kind of a bad-paced episode, in my opinion. Moving on to number 13 is the Fish Fiend episode. Yeah, I know, Adam, you love this, more power to you. But for me, it's because this episode, I didn't see it much compared to the other ones. I mean, I saw the Wakumi bird more than this. The only thing I'll give it is the monster does look a bit intimidating, which I'll get to in the next video. But the story for that one is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Scooby wants to return this penguin from the zoo to the South Pole, which is something we've seen in other stories and fiction. And then they bump across this fish monster, and they want to see what's going on with him. They uncover what's going on with him, and what's going on with him is kind of interesting, but a bit far-fetched, I would say. Hence a Pokemon reference. But yeah, as it stands, it's one of those episodes that it's just there for me. It doesn't really stick out compared to the other ones. That's just me. At number 12, we have the vampire episode. At least this one, it has a bit of... You can understand why it's more popular than the fish episode, the Fish Fiend episode, because the Hex Girls are in it. Yeah, they're in it, but they're not really a center of focus. And I'll explain that more when we get to another one, because you have a band you have like a cameo band inserted with them, but the thing is, the Hex Girls, even though they know the Scooby Gang, they don't feel as part working with them compared to another band, which I'll get to later. And obviously Adam knows what I'm talking about, so there we go, just messaged me too. But yeah, so that's the, yeah, like I said, number 12, the vampire episode. I do like the atmosphere, and it makes sense it's going to be in the castle. It's just an we're still on the it's okay for me. At number 11 is the Halloween episode. I feel like this is where the episodes start to get more, a bit more interesting. Yeah, it's a Halloween episode, so there's going to be a lot of Halloween cliches. Literally, I had a list of all the Halloween cliches in this episode, and there are like 18 of them. So just to get this out the way with, because it is a Halloween episode, we have 18 Halloween cliches. Bayou/farmer villages portrayed as an angry mob with lanterns and pitchforks. Number 2, haunted legend of a ghost. Number 3, the setting is in a farm area. 4, lightning. 5, lightning flashes with a monster in it near a window. What else did I have for these cliches? Black cat, glowing red eyes on the black cat. Farming tools used as weapons. Young couple in a car at night attacked by a threat. Crop shapes in cornfields. creepy old lady, ghost, creepy scarecrows, Mayor uses the legend to bring more customers, creepy house, Velma mentions a ghost story, ghost blanket costume, you know, the old traditional thing, and Black Cat shows up at the very end of the episode. That's 18 cliches. Some more than others, but yeah, really hammering it home. Aside from that, though, it is still a fun episode. I mean, it's got Kiss in it. I mean, I'm not a big Kiss fan myself on the when it comes to music, but I can tolerate them, and they do have a good song number, which I'll get into in other rankings. And of course, even though this episode is it is a bit more corny, pun intended, but I feel like at least it's interesting. I mean, I'll take corny over boring. No offense on the Fish Fiend episode, that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, I feel like with the addition of Kiss and the Scarecrow the Scarecrow robots and the setting, it starts to pick up the flair there. So I think I like the presence for it. Number 10, oh, there's a jet going over my house. Number 10 is the Centaur. Yeah, it's not the best episode, but again, it's like the Halloween one, where it has a bit of a charm to it, which I don't mind. It's got the typical Indiana Jones plot of going looking for Atlantis type deal, and the weird thing about this episode, though, is that you have these side characters on their own plot, and they bump across the Mystery Gang, and they feel like they're just forced into this plot. That's how it feels. And which forces a kind of an alliance with the treasure hunter and the gang. And this treasure hunter guy is basically your poor man's Melbourne O'Reilly, I would say. He literally has a fedora, a whip, and the satchel bag as well. I will say this, even though this episode is kind of it still has a bit of a charm. I think one of my favourite funny moments from this episode is where the treasure hunter guy is trying to get the talisman back from Shaggy, and they're all sleeping, he tries to get it, and I think he gets bit or he hurts his hand. He has to leave the room and has to hide his ow from the crowd. And that's something that I got a chuckle out of. So, yeah. And the Centaur thing. It's not the best Centaur, but I did like all the Greek mythology concepts we got from when it comes to like the labyrinth and the monsters and stuff. So there were a lot of little elements that helped keep it going. And as for and there's that side character, the kleptomaniac with his whole little thing. It was still a fun ride to me, even though it wasn't the best, but it still had a bit of charm to it, I found. Moving on to number 9, House of the Future. No surprise there. This was a unique one for me, where you had, like, again, because what's new Scooby-Doo? You expect some new stuff, and instead of like a haunted house, we get a house from the future, and all the AI goes out of control, and you want to know who's behind all this. And I think it's a fun experience because they try new things, and that's a good way to go through it. I mean, I want to say more about this, but you know, more of what I say is going to relate to either the monster or the culprit, and I don't want to go into those details. But it does put Daphne back into that usual formula of damsel in distress who needs rescue. But I feel like it's held up with good side characters like Horatio and the Blabber Brothers. Okay, the Blabber Brothers are kind of annoying, but Horatio is basically, I want to say, a more foppish version of, well, to be fair, he came before the other character, but he's a more foppish version of Lancelot or Jameson Ripley, which I'll get to later. But yeah, but I feel like it's handled better with him, but I still like his character. So, it's a fun ride for me. Moving on, though, to for number 8 spot is the 30-foot Shaggy episode. I felt like this is where we enter from the, so from the way I've got this worked, Wakumi Fish Fiend, I would put as, they're okay. From Vampire up to House of the Future, they're like the charm. And from 30-foot Shaggy, which is number 8 spot, to number 5, I would say, now we're getting to the good stuff. That's what I could. So, like I said, the 30-foot Shaggy, where we have, of course, I do like the concept. Again, what's new Scooby-Doo, a new idea where they take the Godzilla formula, put it on Shaggy, which has its own plot hole, but we'll get to that in another video. But I do like it for the unique idea of what you get from it, like how are they going to stop this thing. Now, clearly it's going to be a giant robot, how else could you explain this? But I do enjoy how they try to work around it and prove Shaggy's innocence, because they have to kind of work their way around the law. And you figure the law wouldn't believe this, but when you have a giant image of Shaggy in lizard form, it's kind of not hard to avoid that, and it is interesting. You've got Dogbot and Elliot brought back. I feel it does have a bit of corniness to it, but I feel like the good elements help balance it out. Moving on to my number 7 spot is the Scooby Snack Monster. Again, this is another one of those corny episodes, but I feel like it's treated a bit more seriously. It tries its best to take care with it. It's basically like how do I put this? It's like a scenario with the Willy Wonka factory type deal. And I'm wondering, did Scooby come first or did the snacks come first? I am wondering about that. So I would assume the snack came first and the dog was based on that. That's just my logic on the show. But I still enjoyed it for what it was worth, because you had this mysterious blob creature going around made of the actual food structure. And I'm wondering, like, Shaggy and Scooby shouldn't really be scared of this, because if you've seen the live action Scooby-Doo 2, they came across a candy floss monster and they ate it, so. I mean, but they treat it seriously, and they go around from one spot to another to figure out what's going on. And they do something interesting with it, which results into another one of those creatures. So I did enjoy the creativity of it. Moving on to the next one, we have number 6, El Gusano Grande, the giant worm. Well, it's not, again, this is one that now we're getting to the good territory. It is number 6. I do like it for where you take the Scooby Gang, you put them into a desert race, and you try something new with the Mystery Machine. And it is a fun little race. Kind of a more serious version of the Reluctant Werewolf race, instead of like a go-go gadget. Well, a bit more serious, because the monster is constantly whacking off races through the race, and it's obviously one of the races modified their car to win the race. Now, since this is the first time we're introduced to that character, you wouldn't suspect that character, but the mystery is kind of easy when you put the pieces together, though. But still, I did enjoy it for the creativity and the interesting concept it had throughout. It was a well-paced episode, and I don't mind a good race episode. Where are we at? Number 5, the cat creature episode. Well, of course, well, obviously it's a bit biased because Lynx's series creator here. I didn't mind cat creatures, and it was nice because whenever you have in the animation business, they always bring back to do these cat-type creatures Frank Welker to do them, because he does all those unique animal sounds from Disney, and it makes sense. Because if you saw in Disney's Tarzan, they had a leopard called Sabor, and they brought the same actor, Frank Welker, to do the voice for the panther cat creature thing. That's what I'm going off with. But yeah, that's an interesting concept there. I didn't mind it. It makes sense, you know, because like, it's a dog show. Let's have the monster be a giant cat, you know. And then of course we get these new side characters, which are the Secret Six, which again sounds like a military project, which we'll get to a later season. But you know, and it's basically the puppies are dog napped. Obviously, someone in the competition is a bit don't want them as my target, so obviously it's going to be one of those. But I think it was a fun ride to have with going from spot to spot with the cat creature there. So I didn't mind. That was a rather fun one. And now my remaining 4 are all great, like my top ones. So at number 4 is Pharaoh Scamsies, the mummy, because that shot, like Adam says in his video, but that shot where he's gazing on the pyramid, that's just, and then he's gazing on the pyramid and looking about like, I am staring at you, it's coming for you. And then you have the music and the fog and the mist, and of course that other scene where he rips his headgear off and roars at roars at Shaggy and Scooby. Yeah, that's just nightmare fuel right there. I could agree with that. But I think it's fun. It's a good, fun episode, bringing back Melbourne O'Reilly to join the cast and go on to an Egyptian discovery of what's going on with these people who are being kidnapped. Well, people get kidnapped a lot in this show, especially in season 2, don't they? Because like you got puppies and this, and then other episodes I mentioned prior. So a lot of kidnapping goes in season 2. But yeah, so they go from place to place to figure out what's going on, and I think it's a good, fun mystery because the mystery is not what you exactly expect. Like, it takes 2 steps to figure it out, but I think it's a fun ride there. Let's see, though. Moving on to number 3. Oh, yes, there's only 3 monsters left, so, I mean, I'm sure Adam knew that these 3 would be at the top. But yes, now we have O'Glazzy. The Glasborough Dragon.
Who wander in the Highlands, carouse into the fair. We're off to Glasborough Castle, they say there's treasure there. They say there is a treasure within the castle wall, but no one's ever found it and lived to sound the call. For those who seek their fortune have only met the flame of a 1,000-year-old dragon. O'Glazzy is her name. For a picture with the fearsome Glasborough Dragon.
So, now for those of you who don't know, which me and Adam, we do Beast Quest reviews, and we've always compared O'Glazzy, which I'm going to call it for this review. O'Glazzy is basically compared to Furna from Beast Quest. There are a few little differences here and there on the design of the curved horns, and O'Glazzy has an extra pair of limbs compared to Furno. But it's still a fun ride, a fun episode from not just the monster alone, but I feel like every character in this is likable, as in the side characters, from Jameson Ripley, who is basically a more serious version. Imagine, what's his name? Gilderoy Lockhart from Harry Potter, but he takes it a bit more seriously. And I'm always wondering, does Jameson Ripley, is he aware that he's playing a character, or does he actually believe he's the real Lancelot? I'm sure Adam will tell me in the comments. It kind of feels like that Lancelot thing from Night at the Museum 3, only this is before that. So I'm curious to see what Adam thinks of that. Also, we've got, again, we always forget his name, but he's the guy who gets replaced, and you feel sorry for him. So even he feels like a very realistic type character, and he is a suspect too. So he feels very relatable and realistic. Then you've got the minstrels, they're fun characters too, giving you that theme. So I did enjoy it. You know, O'Glazzy is her name and all that, so they're all fun characters there. Even the host, Ewan McGuire, was it? I can't say his name for the life of me, but he's the Scottish bloke. And he's fun throughout because he's basically hamming up this big legend where it's all along an act. And he just has a big fun ride. I feel like every character has their own sense of relatability or charm to them. I didn't really have... There were no one-off characters that I didn't like. And the Scooby Gang each gets their own medieval costume, so you can figure out which one is where. Apparently Fred was a squire. I didn't see that coming. I mean, it would make sense to be a knight, but... And then again, Fred is known for being kind of a bit of a foppish character, to be honest. And then, of course, you've got Daphne, who's apparently a serving wench, which... Okay. Velma's the princess, because symbolism. And then Shaggy and Scooby are your jesters there. So, it's a fun episode from the concept, from the monster, from the chase sequence. Everything about it is just... especially for us who are Beast Quest fans, it's like a fan thing for us, for me and Adam anyway. So you can see why, for both me and Adam, it would be high on our lists. For number 2, obviously Adam's going to have no surprise with this, it's the San Francisco. So again, like O'Glazzy, this has another one where it's a full-on good cast. The story is that there's this monster terrorizing these grind games, which is basically a skateboard event, and the gang has to try and figure out what's going on. they go around. Because they're here because of one of their friends is a skateboarder, Ryan, and they figure out what's going on here. And apparently, there's this legend of the monster called the San Francisco. It's proven to be real now, and the games are feared to be closed. So they've got to figure out what's going on, and it's a fun ride because, like the previous one I mentioned, this has another good side cast. Not as big as the last one, I don't think, but it's still a good one. Where you've got Julian, who's the tour guide, who is basically, he was in the first season. Well, his character wasn't, but his voice actor, which is Kevin McDonald, who plays Bleakley from Lilo and Stitch, comes back and he gets this role, and that is a good choice because that is a good choice for two reasons. One, because Kevin McDonald is awesome as a comedian, and two, because this character was, well, not this character, this actor was used as an actual culprit from a previous episode, so you could easily see kids pointing his fingers that he's going to be the bad guy, because they say, oh, we know his voice actor from a previous episode and he was a bad guy, so it makes sense. So that was a good throw off, and they did subtly do that with how he constantly kept disappearing throughout the episode. So I did like it, and he was a fun con man. I didn't mind him. And then you had Ryan was a nice companion. He wasn't annoying or anything. I felt like he didn't overstay his welcome. He helped out when he needed to. So I really didn't mind his character. And then of course you had there was someone else. Oh yeah, there was the one guy that Adam couldn't remember. His name is Hayes, and he's the leader of the Red Troop. Because basically the grind games were built over the grind games were built over his territory, and he wants them gone, and he's willing to sabotage them just to get his way. So he's another suspect there. He's not the likable character but he's a traditional character you'd expect to see in this type of formula. There was someone else I was going to say. Who was it? Oh yeah, there was the judges. And the judge was fine. She barely overstayed her welcome, so she was very subtle in the background. And I thought there was someone else, but if there is someone else, it's not coming to me. But overall, I feel like it was a fun episode, and I really enjoyed it. The monster was great, the chase sequence was great, the plot was great, it didn't overstay its welcome. It was a fun ride. And, of course, that shot at the beginning, just like what's Scooby-Doo, even with what its restrictions are, it takes advantage of what monster it has. So, with the San Francisco, when it's first revealed, like Adam said, it does this thing when you first see the creature. It smashes the lights, and you see its silhouette gazing down like that. But then, one step after that, all the people run away from it. It turns around and puts its hook right near its face and does that smile thing. Kind of like the Phantom Virus sign of thing. That's just awesome, that is. Nightmare Fuel. And then number one, to no one's surprise, is the Simple Plan Invisible Madman episode. Because, for many reasons why, it's a great episode. Because, I did say earlier why I preferred this one compared to Hex Girls. Because the Hex Girls were more of they didn't feel like, they were in it, but they didn't feel like part of solving the mystery. While Simple Plan felt more connected, linked together with Mystery Inc. to solve the mystery. That's why I felt like it worked better. Even though they got taken out one by one, they managed to find them all and put them together. So I feel like they had a better camaraderie with Mystery Inc. compared to the Hex Girls did. And but yeah, they're basically here. They're on their way to this concert. They get ambushed by the monster, the Invisible Madman, who's basically one of those type of monsters you would see in a modern movie nowadays, which I actually have seen, and I've actually seen an Invisible Madman type movie, which my sister put on, and that scared it scared the crap out of me. So yeah, I did a runner like any sane person would, and the rest of it was all one big ride going from plot, and we get Gibby back. And all the townspeople, they're fun and likable, more so than others. But it's a big fun ride, and you can see there's a lot more I want to say about it, but I don't want to overdo my camera on the budget. But like I said, fun episode, fun experience. You can see why it's this high, from the chase sequence to the side characters, the one-off characters. And it does something new with the mystery formula, which I appreciate. So, no surprise why this episode is at my number 1. Up next is the monster ranking, so stay tuned for that video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.